Hey guys, this is Bangers here. I recently finished a rated game that I entered. Didn't know anyone in the game. One of the highest rated game that I had entered at the time, and it had some notable beta tester players in there: P Money, Admiral Adama, Braxo, Dane. So I didn't know anyone. I entered, and I ended up getting third place. So I think I did fairly well. The game itself was kind of mild. I relied more on diplomacy to reach the medal. There was a kind of a big fight at the end, but it didn't really do much. But I promised my friends that I made in this game that I would make a video. So here we go. Started out with decent positioning. Pretty close with Brown over here. Our gens were together. So we agreed that we were going to demilitarize our border because likely there's no reason for us to attack gen against gen. We can use our drillers somewhere else. So that was a nice start with Brown. I immediately aligned with Dane just because we hit it off really well. He's a really nice guy, really funny. We get along well, so I said, okay, let's align. I start a conversation with P Money in my north. We agree to a peaceful border. That's about it. And then I also open comms with Admiral Adama. I try to be open with him, friendly, talkative, but he's not really having it. He's kind of just responding with smiley faces or LOLs, which I found kind of odd and off-putting. I didn't really think much of it at the time. That was about it. I kind of just was like, okay. I wanted to try to be friends with him or friendly with him, but he didn't want it. So that was it. So the first order of action was that we were going to take this little alcove of Braxos here, Humblerod, Sujin, and Sivan. Me and Dane would take it. It was pretty far from the rest of Braxos' outposts, and it would be pretty easy to take. So, plan was I would launch at Humblerod, and Dane would launch at Sujin. About, let's see, day in, we realized that Wadney, Olive here, Wadney, and Braxo are aligned because we see this outpost switch here, Sorin for Tiberius. And I start opening communication with Braxo. Actually, I'm not sure who opened the communications, but he's a nice guy. There was no hard feelings with me attacking him. Yeah, that's about it. I launched on Humblerod. I got some good specs at the beginning too, which were extremely helpful. I got a Hypnotist, a Helmsman, and then a Smuggler also. So I launch on Humblerod. Dane launches on Sujin. Braxo hires some Saboteurs, General, and I end up taking Humblerod, capturing his Saboteur. And Dane eventually takes Sujin. Not too difficult, and that was it. One interesting thing, though, that I found was during this whole time, we knew Olive and Braxo were aligned. And Olive is building up a tiny little militia here at Bahat, but he doesn't offer any of it to Braxo. Any of that drillers from Bahat could have helped save Braxo in that area, and instead he lets it just build up. It doesn't really do anything with it. So I found that odd. If my ally did something like that to me, I would kind of be a little upset. Just letting drillers build up and not doing anything with them. So that was that. All right. So moving up here, still had peace with P Money and Panzer Brown. Oh, let me back up. So part one of this. So I move my queen over to the left because I have peace on my right side. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I could go for yellow, I could go for red, head more towards Braxo, so the options were open. Okay, so I continue to open communications with Adama, specifically about Salt Mine. So Salt Mine was a pretty crucial factory in the middle of me, Yellow, and Red. And it was very important, yes. So I asked Red, oh, what are we going to do at Salt Mine? At the beginning, Red is closest to Salt Mine, so technically he has the right to it, but I asked anyway, what are we going to do at Salt Mine? And he said, well, whoever gets to it first will get it. Which is fair. And I said, okay, well, that's going to be you. And he said, and he just gave me a smiley face or something. And I was like, okay, sure. Then Captain Gooch, Yellow, messages me, and he says, Red is launching all of his drillers at Neptune, and he's going to take Salt Mine. And I go, huh, that's funny. Neptune's closer to you. And he said, yes, but Adama still launched at it. And I find this extremely hypocritical, that Red wanted me to let him have Salt Mine. Admiral Adama wanted me to let him have Salt Mine because he got to it first, yet Yellow, who got to Neptune first, he attacked. So at that point, I knew, Red, I can't trust you. Like, you can say one thing to someone else, same thing to two people, and do different things. So Red, I was gonna fuck up Red, and that didn't really happen, but you'll see. So I tell Captain Gooch, Yellow, that I'm going to help him keep Salt Mine, or at least make sure Red doesn't get it. So I was able to capture Salt Mine in only 8 drillers. Red and Yellow launch a bunch on Salt Mine. I launch a 6-driller sub. If I had, right now, if all looks like it's going to go on the screen, I take Salt Mine with 1 driller, and then Red takes it back with, 21? But instead, I gift the 6 to Salt Mine. Red loses all of his drillers, claims Salt Mine. He uses his Salt Mine to attack Yellow's. And I claim Salt Mine with only a total of 8 drillers. The 6 I gifted, and the 2 I took Salt Mine with. I launched the least amount of drillers at Salt Mine and ended up taking it for myself. Red messages me, quote, what the fuck bangers. He goes on about a 10-message rant about how, I don't know, deceitful that was, how just nonsense. And I'm just like, okay, well, I still want to be friends, but I can't have you have all 3 of those factories on my border, sorry. And he is kind of gruff about it, but in the end, he's okay. He understands. Kind of, I guess. So, that's the end of part 1. Taking Salt Mine with 8 drillers. And stay tuned for part 2. Thanks.